Are you ready to take your investment game to the next level? Introducing Digital Investor, your ultimate guide to mastering the digital marketplace. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, Digital Investor brings you cutting-edge game theoretical strategies, expert insights, and real-time tips and tactics to analyze, evaluate, invest, and grow your wealth. Don't miss out on the digital revolution. Visit www.nickblacknex.com and start your journey with Digital Investor today.
All right, what's going on? Right balance? That's right balance? Which is weird because you have to like move the computer away. That's weird. All right. Hello. Let me get this down to a manageable level. Okay. Let's see what's going on. Hello. All right. So, I'll go through the news that I found somewhat interesting. If you guys have questions, just write the word question. Hello. Just write the word question and then your question. But let's keep it. Oh, yeah. The cat got me right there. You see that? Just so you know, that was a claw through a blanket and a sheet. That was through a comforter and a sheet. It's a good one. Anyway, yeah. Hello. All right. So, yeah. What's going on? Well, the cryptos are going on. Actually, we could even throw that up as a backdrop, couldn't we? We could go look at prices. Why is crypto pumping? Well, there's not, those are big open-ended questions, buddy. There's not one why, there's not one why to rule them all. Things got kind of quiet last week, if you remember, but generally the trend is up. I mean, everything is bullish. If you think about it, let's do a little Q&A in the chat. Regulatorily speaking, regulations, laws, rules, stuff like that. Do you think the world is better now than it was 6 months ago for crypto? Do you think we live in a better regulatory environment now than we did 6 months ago under the Gary Gensler regime? Gary Gensler, Elizabeth Warren, and all those other assholes. Better. I think it's better. So at some point, better. Yeah, I mean, at some point, that's going to take over. Right? Yes, much better. Right. So if we think that regulatorily, we're in a better spot, then it's just a matter of the rest of the world playing catch up, right? Think about what are investment markets. You're not trying to, it's the beauty pageant, right? You're not trying to determine who is the prettiest contestant. You're trying to determine who that crowd of idiots is going to vote for. And the idiots are many. The other thing, too, that makes some of the crypto space, like Bitcoin and to an extent Ethereum, but for sure Bitcoin, look appealing right now, is that when you have the whole world in recession, you end up in a situation where people are looking for places to hide their money to kind of wait out the storm. I think that Bitcoin is going to be the alcohol of money. And so what I mean by that is, alcohol sales. I have a friend of mine owns Hollywood vodka. He has Hollywood. He has Hollywood vodka, Hollywood whiskey, the Hollywood brand, which I'm sure didn't come cheap. And he said it's great. Whenever we're in a recession, people drink, and whenever we're not in a recession and people are happy, they drink. I said, you know what they do in between times? They also drink. So it looks like going into a recession scenario. I mean, we've been in a recession, but in a recession scenario, you drink. In this case, Bitcoin. And when things are going good, you add more Bitcoin. And when things are going bad, you add even more Bitcoin because they're going bad, because where people are thinking about, money creation and money supply and debasement of currency and destruction of savings. So, I mean, Bitcoin is the alcohol of money. It's the liquor of money. Sorry if I'm a little scratchy today. There was this kind of green dust over everything yesterday outside. Something spewed its little pollen. And remember, there's a lot of movies that start this way. First, there's a green dust, and then it's a zombie apocalypse. So we didn't get the zombie apocalypse yet, but the green dust definitely made me feel kind of sick. Sick is not fair. Not sick, congested. Yeah. But I have French toast flavored coffee to satiate myself. Anyway, Joseph, to kind of put a button on that, it looks like Bitcoin is a always asset. Risk on, risk off, and everything in between. The rest of the assets have more of an institutional function. Well, I would say to an extent, a few of the assets have a kind of institutional function. So with Ethereum, people that buy Bitcoin, Bitcoin is gold, therefore Ethereum is silver. And kind of, there's a lot of more kind of industrial use of Ethereum, right? So you could kind of see that analogy a little. Everything else is a flat out effing gamble. All of it, all the way down the board. I mean, there's even in the top 10, there's a bunch of crap projects. I mean, what's number 4? XRP. What's number 3? USDT. That's a counterfeiting coin. What's XRP? I mean, also kind of a counterfeiting coin. What's Cardano? That's number 8. How is Cardano still number 8? It's used by the people, like 6 people that have Cardano t-shirts. No one else. I mean, when I say no one, nothing is happening on Cardano. I mean, at least with Ripple, with XRP, you have a giant company, Ripple, that's out there trying to do some payment stuff. They're not getting it done. They're not achieving it. They're failing miserably because they're just too busy stealing from everyone. They're too busy trying to get the saints out of the bathrooms to do any real good. But at least there's somebody that works there. At Cardano, they ain't got nothing. Nothing. Oh, dang, Jeff, you're in Nashville. Nice. My Brando and Richie just went back to Nashville. They were here for a few days, and we went to one of their launch parties, and we saw one of their new movies that they got. Well, actually, I don't know if I'm even allowed. Yeah, I mean, anyway, it was a new movie. I won't say the title of it, but it was a new Kevin James film, and it was pretty good. It was a rom-com. But anyway, they just got finished. It was just principal photography just finished, so they're still chopping it up and editing it a little bit. But this was a pretty good version, a pretty good copy. Anyway, yeah. Okay. Whew. all that. Yeah. So, I mean, just generally things are more positive right now. So the pump was, I think Ethereum is mispriced right now. Well, it's correctly priced. I think it's misvalued. I think Ethereum has more value. I think when Vitalik and the Ethereum Foundation stepped forward and said they're going to start participating again, we're tired of being, just seeding, the future of Web3 to a bunch of hack job 2-bit layer 2s that take advantage of Ethereum, but that, kind of diminish value. So I think they got back on the proverbial horse. That's good. But yeah, you go right down the list, and there's not much quality. There's just not much quality in the crypto space. It's all mostly bullshit. Even Brandon and I were talking about that. Like, these new token launches, they're all a joke. They're all a joke now. These tokens go up and then they immediately get destroyed because there's no value there. There's no use case. Some of these always say, it's the use case, stupid. There's no use case. So you look for use, utility, and wide-scale adoption, and then what would dummies do? But most of these new projects, it's just what would dummies do? It turns out there's not just a whole lot of uses outside of the function of money. So that's where you see this huge push for stable coins and things like that, which makes a lot of sense, right? Replacing slow paper money or slow digital money, because money's been digital since the 70s, with fast digital money, with auditable, fast, portable, transportable, divisible, immutable digital money. So yeah, kind of has to happen, right? To an extent. Let's see. Crypto question, options. How do you protect your investment if you would call out to exercise? How do you protect your investment? You mean, let me see if I can, you tell me if I'm rewriting your question correctly, Norbert. You're saying, how do you protect yourself if you feel like you're going to get called out? Okay, so remember, called out, you're on the call side, meaning you own the underlying asset, okay? And it looks like you're going to get called out. Well, guess what? You can roll call options the way you roll put options. And stay in the game, buddy. You don't ever have to get called. You don't ever have to get put if you don't want to. You may want to burn a bunch of time decay, collect as much time decay as you can, and then just roll it. We're in a situation, well, we'll talk about it more tomorrow, and then Thursday for Options Thursday. Somebody sent me a great idea, like, what do they call it? The options program. The options program, like on Thursdays or something. Top's kind of cool. I said, oh, that's a good idea. Anyway, so you can roll these contracts. You don't ever have to get assigned. Now, there is early assignment, but no one on earth would be so damn stupid to do it. You hope they do, but it's very unlikely, where they would assign you the assets first or call you out sooner. So they have the right, not the obligation, they have the right. Anybody has the right in U.S. markets to early exercise you. So let's say you have your IBIT at $60, but the current price is 61. You sold the 60. So you're going to get called out. Sometimes, it's very rare, but sometimes people will early exercise that. There may be tax reasons behind that. There may be other balance sheet considerations that we're not thinking of. But for whatever reason, you get early exercised. So they call you out of your shares. You look in your account, you just have a bunch of cash. Like, wait, what happened? You got a gift. You just scored a huge universe victory. I wish, by the ball hairs of Zeus, I wish I would get early exercised on everything I sold this week, because then I could sell again on the other side of the table. Meaning, if I got called out of all my ETH or my IBIT, I would immediately be in the cash side. I'd have a big pile of cash. I could immediately sell puts again. You get to double dip. We love double dipping. What's better than 1, 2, It's better than twice as good. So you can protect. So if you got early exercise, early assigned, that would be a gift. But if you think you're going to get assigned, put in or called out, and you want to hold the underlying asset, which I don't think you should fight for it that much, but you certainly can. We got put into a lot last week. About 2/3 of the portfolio got put into ETH, and that's worked out pretty good. But I didn't have those 2 days of time decay over the weekend, so I technically lost about 15 to 20 cents a share on 148,600 shares. But it worked out. Praise be. All right. Let's see. What else we got? Yes, black belt in jiu-jitsu. Brazilian jiu-jitsu, not the other kind. There is another kind of jiu-jitsu, but I don't know anything about that kind of jiu-jitsu. Just BJJ. Let's see. Yeah, I think so. I think, Kirill, that's the case. I think, I was telling somebody yesterday, she did a morning show for many years. She's super cool. And, she saved up a fair amount of money, and she's got it in all these different places. I said, do you own a Bitcoin? No. Well, then my financial advice is own a Bitcoin. Everyone, I've said this for years. Everyone should own one. I originally said everyone should own two. The one that the one that you'll eventually sell, and the one that you won't sell. Everybody should own one. That's becoming less and less feasible now that the asset's $109,081. Everybody should endeavor to own a Bitcoin. What you might do, if you're option selling, if you're participating in that, is to take a little that you've generated. So let's say you had a 3% week, a hell of a week, a banner week, one might say. Take some of that cash and push it back into some Bitcoin. Get you some Bitcoin. And remember, you can borrow against it. Right? You can borrow up to $1 million just over on Coinbase even. And even not there, you can go wrap your Bitcoin in wrapped WBTC, and you can go borrow against your WBTC if you need the money to deploy. Look, I'm trying to refinance my home right now so I can pull $2 or $3 million out and punt it into the options market rather than have it just sit here and this just dead money. Owning shit is an old concept. We don't own anything. None of us do, ever. We just don't own anything. And if someone's going to give me money at 6% or 7%, and we can make a 1% to 2% a week, give me that money, bro. Give it here. So, yeah. Your ampies. You know what? Tracy, I haven't gone through the process yet. I haven't gone through the process. I haven't done anything. I mean, until someone tells me there's money being made somewhere, I'm not doing shit. I'm not doing anything. I'm not clicking 3 buttons. Nothing. I'm doing nothing until someone shows me there's money being created. Maybe I'm being crypto cynical. Maybe it's the green powder. I don't know. What is it? Green powder? Green pollen? The green alien dust? I don't know. What about Strike on Cardano? What is that, a video game? There's nothing going on Cardano. It's unfortunate. I really used to love that project, but there's nothing going on there. Charles is a fail. He's a really bad leader. He's a nice guy, I guess. He's kind of a whiner. He's kind of a pussy, but he's an intellectual. But he is a very poor leader. He's the worst part of Cardano. So a lot of people that would have turned towards that project won't because of him. I don't know if he will ever own up to that, if he'll ever actually look and say, I was the reason this thing didn't really. But again, they have $26 billion market cap for a project that really no one uses. Well done. But there's a lot of those projects, aren't there? Yeah. Okay, let's see. Puts have been working great during this upward and sideways trend. How does this look during a bear market when we see big drops? Well, I don't think that I don't think that the bear market, bull market thing really applies anymore. I just think that's out the window, at least for your assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum. There's only two ETFs, Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I think in market trends, people might tend towards crypto ETFs or tend towards, other assets. But I don't think Bitcoin I just don't think there's cycles anymore. I think that's over with because of the regulatory changes, because all these companies adding Bitcoin treasuries, because of governments taking Bitcoin on their balance sheets and all this kind of stuff. I don't think that I just don't think that the market cycles thing matters. Now, when cash and credit availability shrink up in macro markets and traditional markets, legacy financial markets, there's going to be some cross-pollination because these ETFs are owned by people in those markets predominantly, right? So although Bitcoin and Ethereum, and to some extent some of the other assets might be safe from macro effects for the most part, indirectly they won't be safe, because if you're getting beat up on one side of the balance sheet, you sell everything you sell everything else. In chaos events, in calamity, everything is correlated one, meaning it all goes. And when you have leverage unwinds and things like that. So again, when cash and credit availability shrinks up, and you could have these periods where people run to the sidelines, they grab their cash, they rebalance, all this kind of stuff. But if I saw huge drops, you can chase the drops with your puts. And yeah, you can roll out, you can roll down, you can roll out, you can roll down. And you can just keep chasing it until it goes the other way and still make money. And on the call side, it's easy. You just keep selling calls forever at a price that you got put in at. Hopefully you got put in. You didn't just go buy the thing. Dummies buy stuff. Remember, put your way in, call your way out. Let's see. Remember the good old days when Trump and Musk were fighting last week? You could buy Bitcoin. Yeah, the good old days of last week. Last week was the first week that we got put a significant amount of anything, and it worked out. So far, it's worked out. Let's see. Do you use defined exits on sold puts or calls, or do you keep it fluid? I keep it fluid. It depends how deep into the week we get where the excitement is. Like, we had a lot of excitement early in the week, just, like yesterday and today. So everything, all of the calls that I sold, I would end up getting called out. All the puts are out of the money by like almost $1. So everything would either expire worthless, or I would be called out of it. I'll be back. Basically, it means I'm going to be at this rate, I'll be all back in cash. Ideally, things would stop right here and go sideways for about 4 days in a perfect world. But normally, if I've got 90% profit on any options contract, I'm going to buy it back. So if I made 90% on it, I'm buying it back as a general rule. So if I sold something for $1, when it's 10 cents, my name's Bennett and I ain't in it. I am out. I will take that win to sidelines. And if it's earlier in the week, so like by tomorrow, I will start looking at the puts that I have and say, okay, are these low enough where I could scoop 90%? If so, I'll grab them and wait and see, hey, maybe there's a sell-off Thursday or Friday, right? It's worth it to give up to see that last 10 cents or 8 cents or whatever. But if it was later in the week, if we were Thursday, I would just let it go and just see if we can get it to expire but then I want to sell something again Friday so I can take advantage of that time decay over the weekend. Maybe. Yeah, it just sounded, all of it just sounded like two friends beefing. Anyway, so there you go. Okay, a couple of articles that I thought you guys might find interesting. South Korea's ruling party. That makes me click the yellow button. Don't yellow button me. I yellow button you. I'm the one with the yellow buttons. All right. South Korea's ruling party wants to allow companies to issue stable coins. Sound familiar? And yes, well, for what? That's a big open question, Joseph. Do you mean, do they matter to crypto, or do they matter to the rest of the world, or do they matter to me? So CPI and PPI matter relative to earlier measurements. So you can look at them as their own data set, and that data there's valuable information in that data compared to itself. Is it a true litmus of what's going on in the real world? Well, CPI, not really. PPI, maybe. But there is value in looking at the entire series. And when you look at the series of that data in relation to other measurements of that series of data in that series, then yes, there is value to that. It shows you the trend. You know, the trend is your friend. It shows you the trend. Let's see. Nick, did you see that Sam Altman is using Google instead of Microsoft for cloud computing? Well, who knows? I mean, Microsoft still owns just about half of OpenAI. So there could be a little beef. There could be some little beef going on there. Who knows? Yeah. Okay. Under a new proposed law, companies would be able to issue their own tokens provided they meet equity capital requirements and can guarantee refunds through reserves. Again, something that Tether can't do. So they keep whining about it. But this is what Circle can do, and this is what other stablecoin issuers will be able to do when the Genius Act passes in the United States, and apparently what South Korea's ruling party would have people doing in South Korea. So they issued this statement that they want to allow a policy which sets the framework for companies to issue their own stablecoins. The president, Lee Jae-myung, proposed the Digital Asset Basic Act, DABA, Digital Asset Basic Act, which is aimed at improving transparency and encouraging competition in cryptocurrency. The stablecoin sector has experienced a surge in interest this year, thanks to, among other things, progress towards the Genius Act here in the United States. So isn't that interesting? So the DABA, the Digital Asset Basic Act, that's funny, Digital Asset Basic Act. I've been called basic. I went out with a girl, she was like, "You're basic." I'm like, "Oh yeah." She's like, "That doesn't mean what you think it does." I was like, "Oh shit." Anyway, the Digital Asset Basic Act is aimed at improving transparency and encouraging competition in cryptocurrency. Companies would be able to issue their own stable coins provided they have at least 500 million won, about 368,000, in equity capital and can guarantee refunds through reserves, as well as receiving approval from the Financial Services Commission. That's pretty interesting. Lee, voted in as president last week, made a number of promises to South Korea's crypto industry during his election campaign, appealing to the nation's 15 million crypto investors. Among them, he said the country should support a won-based stablecoin market to prevent national wealth from leaking overseas. Say what? Stablecoins are tokens. You guys know this. Stablecoins are tokens that are pegged to the value of traditional financial assets, such as fiat or government-issued currencies, with the U.S. dollar being the most prevalent of those. Their stability provides a counterweight to the volatility of crypto assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and allow users to hold capital in digital assets without having to worry about wild swings in price, slippage, and what have you. What have you? What say you? The sector, which is dominated by counterfeiting operations like Tether, has experienced a surge in interest this year. And I think most of that is just due to the Stablecoin Act, the Genius Act. I think people realize it's kind of a sure thing, like it will absolutely happen. And since that is the case, here we are. All right. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Growing stacks of Bitcoin long-term holders. So we would call these diamond hands. Oh, by the way, and unrelated, Rejuve is in their second epic for claiming your tokens or whatever. The Rejuve airdrop. If you had AGIX, blah, blah, blah. I've not been able to make the website work. I can't get any tokens off of there, but I'm registering or whatever. But I've never successfully gotten any of those tokens. The shit always crashes, as is all Singularity DAO, Singularity Net crap. It mostly crashes. Although the SDAO site works pretty good. It works 60% of the time. It works every time. Have you tried the second round, Frank? Did you try to get? I couldn't do it. I mean, I've clicked that thing. I hooked up my Lace wallet. I've done it 50 times. Nothing. I'm just like, you know what? Screw it. Those tokens aren't worth shit anyway. Anyway, growing stacks of Bitcoin long-term holders suggest a bullish outlook. I like bullish outlooks. As the Bitcoin counts of long-term holders has increased, that of short-term holders has fallen. Yeah, why? Well, because all those Johnny-come-latelys punted their dumbasses out of the market. Oh, that's funny. Not the lace wall. Jesus Christ, dude. Charles is just like a fail factory. They just can't do anything right. Ugh. Anyway, a record 14.46 million Bitcoin held by long-term holders signals strong market confidence in future price growth. Past all-time highs in long-term holder supply have often preceded significant price increases. So, I mean, it makes sense, right? If long-term holders are holding more than less, then it should stand to reason that number go up, because the people that believe in it are grabbing the tokens, pulling them off exchanges, putting them in their back pocket, putting them in cold storage, obviously. Anyway, long-term holder LTH Bitcoin supply, as tracked by Glassnode, has surged to a record 14.46 million BTC, signaling confidence that price gains are in store. Long-term holders defined as investors holding Bitcoin for at least 155 days. Who here would be an LTH? Who here is a long-term holder? You have held Bitcoin for at least 155 days. You know why that's cool? If you have held Bitcoin for 155 days, you are considered smart money. Yeah, I said it. Smart money. Well done. How'd that feel? I bet you didn't think you would wake up today and someone would call you smart money. Well, they just did. So take your right hand, reach over your shoulder, and give yourself a little pat on the back. Smart money. Anyway, those of you holding for at least 155 days, considered smart money, have been strategically buying during price dips and selling during bull market peaks. This all-time high in long-term holders supply suggests that seasoned investors anticipate much higher prices, a pattern historically associated with significant price rallies. From March to June, long-term holders' supply increased by approximately 500,000 Bitcoin, while short-term holders sold around 350,000 Bitcoin. Johnny come latelys, moving on down the road. They're trading in and out of Bitcoin versus investing in Bitcoin. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Well, I'm not a hater. You want to get in, get out, sideways, whatever it takes to churn some cash. It doesn't usually work. You usually lose, but more power to you. I think this time is different. Anyway, many investors, now classified as long-term holders, entered the market amid the euphoria of January's Trump inauguration and the $109,000 record. 5 months later, having endured a 30% correction and now a bounce back to the record, these long-term holders are demonstrating resilience. They didn't buy at 109 just to sell at 109. Long-term holders currently represent about 73% of Bitcoin's circulating supply of 19.88 million BTC. Now, to be fair, part of that metric is skewed. Why? Because a lot of this Bitcoin has been lost. And that would look like a long-term holder, wouldn't it? If it's in a wallet where it's never moved because it can't move because it's the bottom of some goddamn dump somewhere or some landfill, okay, I don't know that we would call that smart money. I don't know that we would call the Satoshi wallet smart money. I don't know that we would call any of the lost Bitcoin scenarios smart money. And that's like 5 to 6 million Bitcoin. So that's a third. That's almost a third of this number. So it's not all smart money, but you guys are. You guys are smart money. Anyway, there we go. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool, am I right? Okay. I wonder how many panicked out of Bitcoin last week. Probably a fair amount. Probably a lot. Many of them. So good. Long-term holder count's going up. Great. All right. And someone asked, yeah, I'm nowhere near the riots are. I mean, there's a lot made of these riots on TV. It's pretty minimal, man. It's like a couple of blocks in downtown near this one government building. That's the whole thing. It's not pew, 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 get your MP5 and get down to the street. No. It's just not that. I have a friend and they were like, I want to go to LA, but I don't know, with all these riots. I'm like, do you think that's anywhere near the airport? Do you think that you're going to see riots? No. This isn't France. You're not going to turn a corner and see a riot. It doesn't work that way. Anyway, yeah. Okay. I think a lot of people probably panicked out of Bitcoin last week. So here we are. Yep. All right. What else is going on? Looking down the price list. Anything stick out? Anything interesting? Let's see. Optimism having a day. Well, that's probably just tracking Ethereum's day. Although I think people are going to start that. I think that trade's going to go away. But I don't know. Maybe not. Wrap stake Ethereum. Gosh, look at that stuff. 3,267. That's the cool thing. If you're in the if you did spin up some loans against your Ethereum in Morpho, then you're sitting on wrap stake Ethereum, which is doing pretty good. So good on you. Like over the last 90 days, you're up, 47%? Pretty good. I'm guessing pretty much the same as is the Ethereum count. Let's see. 46, so pretty close. But anyway, it's kind of nice to be staking at the same time. It's nice to be staking and borrowing. Making money on the money that you borrowed against the money. That is the American dream. Raw materials for a finished product for profit. It's the American dream. All right. Okay, where to from here? You tell me. Let me see. There was one other one. I don't know if it was stablecoin related. Franklin Templeton unveils intraday yield for assets on the Benji platform. This sounds really stupid. Franklin Templeton Digital Assets said on Tuesday that it's rolling out a new feature for its Benji platform that aims Benji, as in Ben Franklin. Oh, those guys, they're so clever over at Franklin Templeton. So they're rolling out a new feature on the Benji platform, and I'd be curious if anybody even uses this, that aims to improve on existing standards for calculating and distributing yield via blockchain. The patent-pending feature, dubbed Intraday Yield, will track investors' holdings of tokenized securities down to the second, allowing them to earn yield on assets that are held for only part of a given day. The 78-year-old bank said in a statement on Tuesday, the yield is calculated and paid each calendar day, including days when Wall Street's closed, like, the weekends. Typically, yield is calculated at the end of each trading day, with interest on assets like money market funds paid out monthly. In a statement, the head of digital assets at Franklin Templeton said the feature reflects how blockchains are increasingly being used to create modern-day plumbing. Yeah, modern-day plumbing for the U.S. financial system. I think that's a fair way to look at it. I think stable coins in general, and just distributed ledger based data transfer, I think that is going to rebuild legacy finance, because you won't be able to stay on the sidelines and you won't be able to compete. Even if one bank goes into stable coins and other banks don't, those banks, as far as settlement, are not going to be able to compete. They just aren't. You can't do it if it takes you 2, 3, 5 days to settle a goddamn transaction with a little balance sheet swap, whereas you could just move stablecoin and it's settled in 18 seconds at the latest. So anyway, this guy Roger over at Franklin Templeton said, we believe features that are possible due to the composability of the blockchain environment, like intraday yield, have the potential to become an industry standard. Whether it's equities, bonds, real estate, tokenization offers a process by which real-world assets are represented and traded on-chain using tokens. Yeah, no shit. In 2021, Franklin Templeton debuted the Franklin On-Chain U.S. Government Money Fund on its Benji platform, or FOBX, FOBXX, representing the first U.S.-registered mutual fund launched on-chain. I don't know how that chain has done, but it allows FOBX allows traders that post collateral for leveraged trades to earn income on what otherwise would be static stablecoins. So just, I guess, they earn some income on their stablecoins that they posted as collateral. Well, that's kind of like what we're doing at Morpho, right? Good. The fund's Benji tokens resemble stablecoins as assets pegged to the price of the dollar, and they've been issued across 8 different networks, according to the data provider. Among 775 million in Benji tokens, 490 million exist on the Stellar network, which is stupid. The others include Ethereum, Avalanche, and Solana. So that's another situation where somebody at the Stellar Foundation convinced a bunch of people that don't know shit about crypto that they're the path. And if you don't know anything better, you'd be like, okay, yeah, Stellar, yeah, that sounds great. Okay. Anyway, they said that this intraday yield will be rolled out on Stellar first, which of course, but eventually the feature will apply to all Benji tokens issued on all compatible networks. I don't think this moves the needle because I don't think anyone cares, but it is another cool use case. So good for Franklin Templeton. Pro crypto, bad for Franklin Templeton. Pro Stellar. Like, that's just stupid. Like, stop. These guys are going to learn. You're either using Ethereum, or you're using a layer 2, or you're using bad technology. That's it. Weak technology, intellectually weak developers, or like in the case of Cardano, spiritually weak CEOs. Just weak. Some weak shit. There you go. There you go. Let's see. I was thinking about Polkadot. No one cares about Polkadot. What else was interesting? Wasn't really a bunch going on yesterday. I guess we're waiting to see what comes of these discussions in China. Well, in London with the Chinese. So yeah. Let's see. Why doesn't MetaMask work when I try to swap XDAO, which is on MetaMask, but recognize the coin? You may be on the wrong network. I would also go and try to use DeBridge if you're doing any swaps, and just see if you can find a pair there. DeBridge is, I think, just consistently way better. That's what I've discovered. Let's see. Oh, that's the one thing that Cardano did, right? They launched Cardinal's launch by Cardano bridges Bitcoin to DeFi utilizing multisig and BitVMX for secure programmable interaction. Okay, so Cardano is, because Cardano is mostly a fail on its own, their whole thing now is, oh, let's be part of Bitcoin's ecosystem again or something. So Cardano's taking new steps in bridging the gap between Bitcoin and decentralized finance by launching Cardinal. This protocol allows the top blockchain network to interact with Cardano's DeFi ecosystem. I can tell you this with 1,000% certainty. Nobody, I mean fucking nobody in the Bitcoin ecosystem wants to have anything to do with Charles or Cardano. I can unequivocally. So it doesn't really matter. This thing is going to just fall flat on its face. Nobody. Now, if you had a scenario where, because, the idea of wrapping Bitcoin makes sense to redeploy, right? As far as lending is concerned, well, you can already wrap Bitcoin on the Ethereum ecosystem. You can wrap Bitcoin in a bunch of ways. But anyway, whiny ass pussy Charles Hoskinson highlighted the release on June 9th, sharing a post from Roman Perlin, the chief technology officer at Input Output Global, which is them. The protocol's launch marks Cardano's most focused effort yet on to bring Bitcoin liquidity into the Cardano ecosystem, which again, nobody in Bitcoin wants their Bitcoin sitting on Cardano. Fucking nobody. So when I see this stuff, I realize that these are weak, intellectually weak Hail Marys being thrown by Charles and the rest of the idiot crew. That's what it looks like. Whatever happened to all those tokens that were like went missing, that were supposed to be part of that? It was like 600, I don't know. A lot of tokens went missing. I wonder whatever happened to that. Anyway, by doing this, Cardano aims to unlock new opportunities for decentralized finance while offering Bitcoin holders safer ways to engage with emerging blockchain applications. Again, no one in Bitcoin gives two red shits about taking their Bitcoin and wrapping it and dropping that shit in the bottomless well that is Cardano. Nobody. I think this thing falls flat. I want to be proven wrong. I'd love to be proven wrong. I'd love someone to be like, no, Cardano is good. But so far, dumpster fire. They don't right now consider the product product production ready yet, despite having already wrapped and unwrapped the first ordinal on the Bitcoin and Cardano mainnets. The protocol works, but as mentioned in the paper, we don't consider it production ready yet. Some improvements are incoming. Stay tuned for the 1.0 version. So not only is this some sloppy half-assed attempt, it's a sloppy half-assed attempt with a product that's not even done yet. So like Charles is like, yeah, look at our new thing. Like, but your new thing doesn't work yet. Well, yeah, but look at our new thing. God damn, Charles, shut up. God damn, shut up. Anyway, to sum up, what is the Cardinal protocol? Cardinal makes a somewhat significant step in Cardano's push to offer Bitcoin holders decentralized access to DeFi services such as lending, staking, and borrowing without relying on centralized bridges or custodians. I mean, again, they can already do that with Ethereum. So I just don't know what he thinks he's done that's any different. Hey, little girl. You want to say hi? I have a little visitor. Let's see if she'll say hi. You say hi? Oh. She's been so nice. You're so pretty. You say hi? Say hi. Little beauty pie. She's so pretty. Big boy's upstairs. He's asleep. Let's go there. Yeah, good girl. You're a good girl. Sometimes when she doesn't tear stuff up, she's been tearing stuff up lately. In those cases, she's a bad girl. But even when she's a bad girl, she's a good girl. She's a good bad girl because she's so fluffy. Whatever she does with her fur, it's like petting silk. So it's like she gets away with murder because silk. Am I right? All right. So anyway, Cardinal, I just don't think it's that interesting. I don't think people at Bitcoin were like, man, once we can lend into Cardano and get into that ecosystem with our Bitcoin, then we'll be there. What is origin to bridge earning points from swap? Well, each season or quarter or whatever, they give away the bridge tokens. So I think you're earning points, and those points equal to bridge tokens at some point that they would give you. It's just a way to kind of incentivize behavior. Is there any value to it? Well, probably not. The token has languished and not done well. So far, if you participated in the ICO, the initial coin offering, you got your ass handed to you. I think what was the price on those? Was it like, I'd have to ask Brandon what the ICO price, but it was like 2.5, 3 cents, 4 cents. Anyway, you got the shit kicked out of you. But that's not because the bridge is not a great product. The bridge is a great product. Unfortunately, token launches shit the bed right now. Period. Full stop. Suck. They just suck. Token launches are not doing well. I don't think it helped all these spammy meme coin projects. That didn't help. A bunch of people lost money. A bunch of people that shouldn't have been in the crypto space. And I say that because if you're going to go gamble, just go gamble. Just go to Vegas and gamble, or gamble in an online casino. If you get into the crypto space, it's worse than gambling because you have less than a 50% chance. You have less than a punter's chance. Because you don't know what you're looking at. And if you don't know what you're looking at and you're investing in it, you're just going to be driving Uber the rest of your life. All right. So the idea is that Cardinal, just to put a button on this, introduces a more secure mechanism to wrap Bitcoin, their unspent transaction outputs, turning them into assets that can move freely across the Cardano network. Again, something that no one in the Bitcoin ecosystem has asked for, no one cares about, no one wants. So Charles is building something that no one wants. Big surprise. Hey, Charles, remember Africa? Whatever happened to that? What a bunch of bullshit. Anyway, these wrap tokens maintain a strict one-to-one peg with the original Bitcoin counterpart. Users can burn the wrapped asset at any time to return the actual Bitcoin to its native chain. This system is built on a trust minimized model, which assumes that at least one out of many operators will behave in a Byzantine fashion, meaning bad actors. Unlike federated models that require a majority of honest actors, Cardinal minimizes trust while maximizing decentralization. It also implements MuSig2, which is a multi-signature cryptographic protocol that lets multiple entities jointly sign a single transaction, which enhances security. So good. Cool piece of technology, Charles, that no one's going to use. But again, maybe there's some cool tech there. Maybe there's some cool IP. There probably is a lot of cool IP at Cardano. Maybe what they ought to do is wrap up all the IP, broker it, and then do a buyback program and buy back all the Cardano tokens, every one of them, so that it's not just a dumpster fire shit show with a bunch of, because the Cardano ecosystem is no less, it's marginally less stupid than the Ripple ecosystem, the XRP ecosystem, same shit. It's just that the XRP army is a little bit more vigilant than the stupidos over at Cardano, or the dummies at AVAX, or the whack jobs at ... All of these tokens have their cult followings, and at least for now, the biggest two cults on the block are, and they are institutional, and that is Bitcoin and Ethereum. But there's still this weird cultish behavior. It's funny too, because people don't, like, you take the people, the XRP army, oh, we're going to inherit the whole world. They believe really, really stupid, not logical outcomes. They believe that they all hold these lottery tickets and that XRP is going to go to $10,000 a token, which is one of the dumber things. It's because it's math. Because math, that is stupid. So, but you know what? People would rather believe a lie if the lie gives them some hope than believe the truth if the truth is rather hopeless, right? I'm paraphrasing the end of Gorky Park. Anybody read Gorky Park? Pretty creepy, my friends. Anyway, yeah. Let's see. If you can wrap BTC without third-party risk, there's real value there. Yes, but guess what, Antoine? You can already do that. You can wrap Bitcoin on 20 different protocols. I don't know what Charles thinks he's done. Oh, you can wrap Bitcoin in Cardano, and you can take your Bitcoin into Cardano and lend it and all that shit. I can lend it right now. I can wrap it. I can get WBTC, and I can participate right now, this second. Why do I need Cardano? Well, because Charles. No, that's not really a thing. I think this thing will fall flat on its head. Yeah, I can't see any reason why people would leverage that. Anyway, yeah, there we are. Okay. Well, I guess let's call it a day. Price action wise, Bitcoin, the corn is at 109. Did you see Maxine Waters? She went to LA. She came to LA to go down to the line so that she could vocally shit talk in front of media the National Guard. And I'm not going to get into all the politics and how stupid all this is, but I can say with certainty that they laughed in her face. She's like, I'm an elected representative and I'm allowed to. They're like, bitch, you better get off the road or you're going to get hit with rubber bullets, because that's what we're doing right now. So I don't want to hear your shit. I don't want to hear your rhetoric. And those cameramen from CNN or whatever other left-leaning bullshit media, they're going to get pelted too. Your ass is going to get some tear gas. But they make this thing, oh, it's an anti-Trump thing. It's not an anti-Trump thing. A bunch of people are being assholes in front of a building. Oh, they took our illegal immigrant friend. Okay, well, then don't be illegal. God damn. Like, you know what the fucking rules are. Like, at a certain point, people need to do some adulting. Be a fucking adult. God damn. Like, take responsibility for your predicament. Oh, we've been here for 20 years. Then go get your fucking green card. Go through the process. You've been here 20 years. That's great. Go get your shit done. Like, at a certain point, man, god damn. People need to just take responsibility. But, you know, you can't say, oh, no, that's cold-hearted of you. I've been an immigrant. I've lived in 7 different countries. You know what I did? If If I was there for a long time, I filed the fucking paperwork. Oh, no one here knows how to do it, though. Oh, it's impossible. But everywhere else they can. Everywhere else it's possible, but just not here. Oh, no, 20 years. Motherfucker, if I live somewhere for 20 years, file the paperwork. Anyway, that's it. That's it. That's all I got. That's all the political ranting I've got in me. Looking forward to seeing Jerome Powell backpedal and pretend that we got a good jobs report. Ignoring, he's going to have to completely ignore the downward revisions, which is, of course, straw man, intellectually weak. I hope that in the presser, the meeting next week? I hope that in the presser they call him out on this shit, like back and forth. Oh, that's we're just uncertain. A lot of uncertainty right now. We're just balancing our dual mandate of maximum employment and price stability, containing inflation along our mandate, minus all the data, dickhead. So we'll see. We'll see if anybody calls out Jerome at the meeting. That would be great. They won't. They started to try to in the last meeting. I don't understand. I know that it's easy to kind of look at those guys and say they're stupid and they don't understand how inflation works and all this, but they can't be that stupid, right? Like, they can't actually be that stupid. You can. Like, no one has ever pulled Jerome Powell aside and said, buddy, what you say is inflation, that's not really inflation, bro. That's not how it works. Like, no one's done that with him. No one. No one has ever explained inflation. Bullshit. These guys all know. So what it becomes is, I think, a dick measuring contest by all these guys. Oh, Trump told me to cut, so we're not going to cut. Why don't you focus on what's best for the country that you supposedly represent, you big-eared asshole? So, anyway, I guess we'll see, right? We'll see. All right. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Don't do anything my poor, insolvent, drunk, stringing on meth grandmother or Brandon wouldn't do. He'll be back tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll mix it up again. And yeah, we'll see what's going on. I'm very interested to see what this price action in Ethereum is looking like, and if Bitcoin's going to step up and break out of an all-time high. I kind of hope, based on looking at my options portfolio, that nothing happens. I would like us this time next week to see a price of $27.39 on Ethereum. Let's see if the gods are with me. By the ball hairs of Zeus.
Killing time, no place to go. Everybody's feeling low. All alone in the street like low. You fall into your head. It's all that you want. It's all that you need. Take some time to make believe. It's all that you want. It's all that you need. Just some time to make believe. It's all that you want. Time, no place to go. Everybody's feeling low. All alone in the street like low. You fall into your head. It's all that you want.